All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive on something pretty epic. Mr. Beast's $19 million YouTube video. You know the one? The one that took over like a whole football stadium. I mean, the same stadium that hosted the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With 2,000 contestants all competing for $5 million. Now you've probably seen the final product. The insane scale of it all, the spectacle. But we're going to go behind the scenes today and really uncover the method behind the madness, the strategy, the planning, the insane level of detail that went into creating this YouTube behemoth.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Mr. Beast isn't just like throwing money at the screen. He's crafted every element of this production to deliver exactly what his audience wants. Like, he really understands his audience.
So let's break down the games, because each one feels meticulously designed to keep viewers on the edge of their seats. We start with the boulder pull. So simple, right? But is that simplicity the key?
Totally. I mean, the boulder pull is like that instant hook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's easy to grasp. The stakes are clear. And you're instantly invested in seeing who can pull that massive weight first.
But even with the seemingly straightforward challenge, there's a layer of, I don't know, almost like a scientific precision to it. Like they actually built a special contraption just to adjust the weight of that boulder.
Oh, yeah. They're like engineers disguised as entertainers.
Yeah.
And they had to fine-tune it, too. You know, initially they made it so heavy that it would have taken ages for anyone to move it. They had to dial it back a bit. So it was like challenging, but also watchable, you know?
Yeah.
So viewers wouldn't get bored waiting for someone to move a rock.
Right, exactly. Then we move on to the briefcase frenzy. Now we're talking suspense.
Absolutely. Visual excitement, constant buildup of anticipation. You're trying to guess which briefcase is safe, who's going to get eliminated, and the tension just keeps ratcheting up with every reveal.
And then, just when you think it can't get any wilder, we get to Flight Chaos. Now things just descend into pure, glorious mayhem.
Yeah. What's brilliant about that one is how it forces those tough choices right. Do you play it safe and wait for a smaller number of flags? Or do you just go all out in a mad dash and risk everything? The unpredictability is just, it's captivating. And let's be honest, it makes for some incredible camera shots, you know, like those raw emotions, those split-second strategies.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Mr. Beast production without that classic test of loyalty. Maybe with a dash of betrayal thrown in. Enter, last to leave.
Oh yeah, the ultimate social experiment with a Mr. Beast twist.
It's so fascinating to watch those dynamics play out. You know, friendships are formed and broken, alliances are made and shattered, all for a shot at a life-changing amount of money.
It's crazy. And speaking of capturing all this action, can we talk about the tech for a second? Because they didn't just use any old cameras for this. They brought up the big guns. Over 500 cameras.
Yeah, and they weren't just randomly placed either. Every single camera, from the tiny GoPros hidden in the set to those massive cinema-grade cameras that probably cost more than my car. But they all served a specific purpose. Right, like they're creating a cinematic experience, but on YouTube. But wait, we can't forget those drones, those head-tracking FPV drones zipping around the stadium, giving us these insane perspectives that I've never seen before.
Now, those are cool. That's not your average drone footage. Those drones are special because the camera operator actually controls the camera by moving their head.
Yeah.
So it's like they're flying through the action, you know. Makes this shot super dynamic, super immersive.
Yeah, it's honestly mind-blowing how much thought went into every single detail of this production. It's like they took the best of Hollywood filmmaking and brought it to YouTube.
Yeah, and all that footage from those cameras, that was just the beginning. They had an entire team dedicated to managing this insane amount of data, petabytes of it. They called it the DIT Command Center. It sounded more like a NASA control room than a YouTube setup.
I know, and it all comes back to Amazon, right? They're the ones distributing this, and they insisted on having triple backups for everything. Like they built a digital fortress around this footage.
Triple backups. I mean, that's just a testament to how seriously everyone was taking this project. No room for error.
But wait, there's more. To keep this massive production running smoothly, they even created their own private phone network for the entire stadium, like their own mini cell phone company, just for this YouTube video.
It sounds insane, right? But think about it. With a crew that size, spread out over such a huge space, communication is key. They needed to make sure everyone was connected. Everyone could coordinate in real time. It's like a well-oiled machine. Only the machine is a YouTube production on steroids.
Okay, but here's what really blew my mind. While they were filming all this, they weren't just letting the games unfold randomly. They were actively shaping the story they wanted to tell as it was happening. Like they're playing 4D chess. While everyone else is just trying to survive the games?
Yeah, you got it. You've got a team of story producers whose sole job is to watch the games unfold in real time. and identify the most compelling storylines. They're looking for those moments of drama, of humor, of surprise, that make a good story great.
So they're basically writing the movie script as the action is unfolding, and they had 40 contestants wearing microphones. And those contestants were chosen specifically because they had big personalities. They were likely to create those captivating moments. It's like they were casting a reality TV show on the fly.
Yeah, and these producers, they weren't just passively watching, they were taking meticulous notes, perfectly synced to the time code of the footage, to guide the editors later. Talk about planning ahead.
It's wild. They even had this thing called a villain board, which was basically a visual representation of the different storylines that they were tracking. It's like watching a masterclass in storytelling unfold in real time.
Exactly. They couldn't predict everything, of course, but they knew the types of personalities, the types of conflicts that make for engaging content, and they were prepared to capture those moments as they happen.
Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or should we say the elephants in the room? Because with $5 million in prize money, there were a lot of them. And they weren't kidding about that cash. They had stacks of it delivered from J.P. Chase.
Can you imagine the logistics of transporting that much cash? Armored trucks, armed guards, the whole 9 yards. Must have been like something out of a heist movie.
It's crazy. And it wasn't just locked away in a vault somewhere. They literally scattered $1,000 bills all over the floor. You couldn't walk without stepping on money. Talk about a visual statement.
Right. It's not just about winning. It's about the spectacle, the excess. It's a visual representation of just how much money is at stake.
So we've got the prize money, the insane tech, the army of crew members, but the expenses went way beyond that, right?
Oh, yeah. They had to rent all that equipment, pay a massive staff, fly in 2,000 contestants, put them up in hotels, feed them. And let's not forget about the games themselves. Those things didn't just magically appear. Someone had to design and build them.
And then there's the cost of renting the stadium itself. We're talking about the Raiders Stadium, the Super Bowl Stadium.
Right. The audio equipment, months of pre-production planning, the set design, the costumes, it all adds up.
So drumroll, please. What is the final damage for this YouTube extravaganza?
Hold on to your hats. Because the final bill for the video itself was a cool $14 million. And when you add in the prize money, the grand total is a staggering $19 million for YouTube video.
$19 million. That's more than some Hollywood movies. This is I don't even know what to say.
It's a mind-boggling figure, no doubt. But it also raises a really interesting question. Does this level of investment signal a shift in how we consume entertainment? Is this the future of YouTube? Or is Mr. Beast just an outlier?
That's what I'm wondering. It's definitely a game changer, but is it sustainable? Can other creators even hope to replicate this level of production?
That's what we'll dive into next, as we explore the impact of this groundbreaking production on the world of YouTube and beyond. What's fascinating is that even with a budget that rivals like a Hollywood blockbuster, Mr. Beast's success isn't just about the spectacle. You know, it's about understanding his audience and delivering what they crave.
So it's not just about like throwing money at the screen. There's a real strategy at play here. What's the secret sauce? What makes his videos so addictive?
If you look at the bigger picture, I think Mr. Beast has mastered the art of storytelling, but on a massive scale. His videos are like blockbuster movies, but disguised as like YouTube challenges. He knows how to create compelling characters, build suspense, and deliver those satisfying resolutions that keep viewers coming back for more.
But isn't there a risk that the sheer spectacle of it all, the $19 million production, overshadows the narrative? How do they make sure that those stories actually stand out?
Well, that's where those story producers that we talked about earlier come in. They're not just watching the games. They're actively shaping the narrative in real time. They're looking for those moments of conflict, of camaraderie, of surprise. That make a story truly engaging.
So it's like they're writing the movie script as the action is unfolding.
In a way, yeah. But they're also working within the constraints of a live event, which adds another layer of complexity. They have to be incredibly adaptable, able to think on their feet.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. But clearly they're doing something right. I mean, his videos consistently rack up tens of millions of views.
Right. He's cracked the code, you know, when it comes to creating content that goes viral. But let's not forget, Mr. Beast has built a massive audience over years of consistent content creation. He's turned his channel into a brand, and that brand has serious power.
Okay, but even with a built-in audience and that brand recognition, $19 million is still a huge gamble. What if the video had flopped?
That's always the risk, right? But Mr. Beast is known for his calculated risks. He's constantly pushing the boundaries of
Ah.
what's possible on YouTube. And he has sponsors lining up to work with him, which helps to fund these bigger and bolder productions.
So he's really created this self-sustaining ecosystem where success breeds more success. But you have to wonder, can other creators, especially those without those resources, replicate this model? I mean, not everyone has a line of sponsors just waiting to throw money at them.
That's a really good point. And it's important to remember that not every creator needs to, or even should, try to replicate this exact model. There's immense value in diversity of content, in different voices and perspectives.
So it's not just about the big budgets and flashy productions.
Exactly. Sometimes the most impactful content is the most authentic and personal. It's about connecting with your audience on a genuine level, regardless of your budget.
But there's no denying that Mr. Beast has set a new standard for what's achievable on YouTube. I mean, he's basically making mini movies with blockbuster budgets.
Do you think this is the beginning of a new era for YouTube? Are we going to see more creators trying to pull off Mr. Beast level productions?
It's hard to say for sure, but he's definitely raised the bar for everyone. He's shown that there's a huge appetite for this kind of high-quality, entertaining content. And he's proven that taking risks, calculated risks, can pay off big time.
But isn't there a danger in setting expectations so high? I mean, it seems like this could create a divide between the haves and the have-nots on YouTube.
That's a legitimate concern. Mr. Beast's success could inadvertently make it harder for smaller creators, those without access to those kinds of resources, to gain traction, especially if viewers start to expect that level of production value from everyone.
Right. And that could lead to a situation where creators feel pressured to spend beyond their means just to keep up, which could be detrimental to the overall health of the creator economy. Absolutely. It's so important for creators to find their own voice, their own style, and to focus on creating the best content they can with the resources they have available.
So what does all this mean for the future of YouTube? Is this a glimpse into a world where every video is a mini blockbuster, or is Mr. Beast just a unique phenomenon?
I think it's probably a bit of both. YouTube is evolving. It's no longer just a platform for cat videos and home movies. It's a space where creators can tell incredible stories, push creative boundaries, and build massive audiences.
And if you want to succeed on YouTube, you need to be willing to adapt, to innovate, and maybe even take a few calculated risks along the way.
But remember, it's not just about the bells and whistles, the drones, and the millions of dollars. It's about the heart of the story, the connection with the audience, and the passion that fuels the creativity. Mr. Beast understands that, and that's a big part of his success.
Okay, so we've talked about the strategy, the spectacle, the potential impact on YouTube's future. But there's another layer to this that we need to address, and that's the ethical side of things.
You're right. Because when you have a production of this scale, when you're showcasing people winning, life-changing sums of money, it's important to consider the message we're sending, the values we're promoting.
Especially in a world where income inequality is a growing concern. Some critics argue that videos like this could promote a culture of consumerism and excess.
It's a complex issue, and there are valid arguments on both sides. On the one hand, you could say it's harmless entertainment. On the other hand, it does raise questions about the potential impact on viewers, especially younger viewers.
So are we saying that Mr. Beast is doing something wrong, that these videos are inherently unethical?
Not necessarily, but it's important to have a nuanced conversation about the implications of this kind of content, to acknowledge both the positives and the negatives.
It's like anything else. Moderation is key. We can appreciate the entertainment value of Mr. Beast's videos, while also being mindful of the messages they might be sending.
Exactly. And we should encourage viewers to engage with this kind of content, thoughtfully and critically, to think about the bigger picture, the impact beyond the screen.
So as we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, what's the key takeaway here? What should our listeners be thinking about?
Yeah, I think the key takeaway here is that Mr. Beast has sparked a really important conversation about the future of YouTube and the whole creator economy. He's shown what's possible with big budgets, ambitious productions, but he's also raised questions about sustainability and, the potential impact on smaller creators.
You're absolutely right. And it's not just about the money either. It's about the message, When you have a production of this scale, when you're showcasing people winning these, like life-changing sums of money. It's natural to ask, like,
Yeah.
what kind of values are being promoted? What impact this might have on viewers, especially like younger audiences?
Yeah.
So how do we navigate this? How do we balance the entertainment value of these videos with the potential downsides? I mean, we can't just ignore the fact that there are real concerns about consumerism, excess, and the pressure on creators to keep up with these massive productions.
That's a tough one. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But I think the first step is to acknowledge the complexity, to recognize that there are valid arguments on both sides.
So it's not about condemning Mr. Beast or saying that these types of videos are inherently bad.
Exactly. It's about having a nuanced conversation. It's about encouraging viewers to engage with this content thoughtfully and critically, to think about the bigger picture, the impact beyond the screen.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for example, we can ask ourselves, do these videos contribute to a culture of instant gratification? Do they make us crave those big wins, those overnight successes, without acknowledging the hard work and dedication that would often go into achieving them?
Yeah, it's like comparing it to those lottery ads, right? Where they focus on the excitement of winning without mentioning the odds or the potential downsides.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the viewers either. We need to think about the impact on creators. I mean, when you see someone like Mr. Beast achieving this level of success, it can be incredibly inspiring, but it can also be discouraging. You know, if you don't have the same resources, the same access to sponsorships and partnerships.
It creates this sense of like, well, if I can't produce a video with a $19 million budget, why even bother?
Right. And that could be detrimental to the overall health of the creator economy. We need to support a diverse range of creators, not just the ones with the biggest budgets. We need to celebrate creativity in all its forms, not just the ones that come with flashy production values.
So what's the solution? How do we encourage that diversity while still acknowledging the appeal of these large-scale productions?
Well, I think it starts with education. We need to educate viewers about the realities of content creation to help them understand that. Not every video needs to be a mini blockbuster, that there's value in simplicity, in authenticity, in raw talent.
And we need to educate creators
Yeah.
about the importance of sustainability, to help them find their own voice, their own style, and to create content that is authentic to them, regardless of their budget.
Exactly. And we need to foster a culture of collaboration and support within the creator community, instead of competing for views and subscribers. What if we focused on lifting each other up, sharing resources and knowledge?
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's about shifting the focus from competition to collaboration, from individual success to collective growth.
And ultimately, it's about recognizing that the power lies not just with the creators, but with the viewers who choose what to watch, what to support, what to value.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Mr. Beast, what's the final thought we want to leave our listeners with?
I think the key takeaway is this: enjoy the spectacle, be inspired by the creativity, but don't let it overshadow the bigger picture. Think critically about the content you consume. Support a diverse range of creators, and remember that the future of YouTube is shaped by all of us.
Well said. And on that note, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners. What are your thoughts on this whole Mr. Beast phenomenon? Do you think it's changing the face of YouTube? Is it a force for good or a harbinger of a more consumerist future? Share your thoughts and reactions on our social media channels, and let's keep this conversation going.
Audio Jungle.